Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. It's great to have you with us on this Saturday morning. We are broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios, brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Before we go on to our next story, I'd like to let our listeners know that we have a free gift that we want to give you. It's a bi-monthly subscription to our newsletter, and it's called What's New. A lot of the topics that we cover on the show are covered in further detail. A lot of folks that you've heard on our show, they're also writers for that newsletter as well. Over 23,000 people say they love receiving it each or every other month. And you can get that electronically or sent to you by mail. All you need to do is give us a call during the week at New Concepts at 952-922-2500. Ask for Lori. She'll make sure that you start receiving that very next subscription.
It's amazing, isn't it? That just grows by leaps and bounds.
It
More
does.
and more people are getting that newsletter.
And we also want to know that want you to know that you can also get a hold of us too. We love our hearing from our listeners.
That's right.
On topics. And,
that's right. We have a hotline number, 952-224-2668. You can leave a message. Let us know what's on your mind. Let us know if you have issues at your association you'd like us to discuss, or if you have another topic you'd like to hear us talk about. Let us know. We'd love to take your question or your comment and put it on the air on our show.
Or even schedule that person to be live on
there you go.
The next recording of our show.
So it's 952-224-2668.
That's right. Give us a call. Our next next item that we want to bring up is there's a gentleman we've had on the show before. His name is Grant Parker, and he's the CEO of Lewis Management out in I think it's Arizona.
Okay.
And we've had him on the show before. He has he's great at being able to synthesize and just put into nugget form some great truths. And he brought out in a recent article in the Green Valley News and Sun a commentary, and I thought it would be worth us discussing. He said that he feels that with a homeowner association board, that there are probably two nuggets that are most important for a HOA board member to know,
learn
about, and to be comfortable with. One is being able to track money, and the second, being able to make decisions collectively with a group of people.
I think he has burned right down to the nugget with these two issues. He simplifies it for us, and I think what he has to say about it is very interesting.
Yes. What do you would agree then with that these are two areas that are probably very misunderstood by
misunderstood, not studied,
boards?
not learned about,
or considered irrelevant, perhaps.
Well, I don't know about that. They're always concerned about the money, but they don't always take the time to learn how to read financial reports or set up their systems so that they're protecting their money and the collective decisions. That's new to many people as to how to work together as a committee and how to make decisions as a group. So
you know, one of the courses that I end up teaching time and time again for a number of organizations is on the area of how to read a financial statement, how to feel comfortable, because it's been my experience that a lot of people are very uncomfortable. I remember years ago dealing with an association board, and one of the things that we heard is the financial reports that we were providing, they're all wrong. And when you hear someone say they're all wrong, a flag goes up. And so I end up dealing with someone, and I start asking questions, and quickly I'm told, no, the treasurer understands everything there is about finance, because he used to work for the IRS.
Ah, okay.
And
the treasurer is saying they're all wrong.
And the treasurer, who is a former IRS agent, I mean, if anybody understands money, it's the IRS, you know.
Yeah.
And so but I began to realize quickly that he really didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's two ways of looking at a financial statement. I won't bore our listeners right now, but one's called cash, one's called accrual.
There's two ways to draw. Yeah.
Yeah, and what people need to remember is that a financial statement, all it is a snapshot. It's a picture in time.
That's right.
One picture in time to give you an indication. Right. It's one indice for the health of your association.
Yeah, that's true. So understanding financial reports is really important. Another thing Mr. Parker brings up is many board members aren't even familiar with how to set up checks and balances in handling their money. And I had this experience with a new homeowners association.
Okay.
I took on a new association. As I'm learning about it, as I'm gathering information about it to set them up in our systems, I learned that their treasurer pays all the bills. They were self-managed, so all the bills would go directly to the treasurer. He would pay them. The treasurer got the bank statements every month. The treasurer was the only signer on the checking account, and the treasurer drew up the reports to report to the board. Now, this had always worked well for them because everyone knew each other. They were a tight-knit community. The problem was, and Mr. Parker mentions this too, there were no checks and balances to their system. One person alone had control of all the money at all times.
I'm happy to report that anytime you hear a story, and there are from time to time of someone who was with the management company, or more often than not, it was a self-managed association and a member of the board who's handling the finances and the funds, ended up leaving and stealing a bunch of money.
Yeah.
When that happened, the situation you just mentioned, that's what took place each and every time. And people, you're right, people get to a point where they say, well, people would be offended if we were to check his work.
If we were to tell him that someone else had to sign the checks as well, or someone else had to do, isn't that funny?
It is some of the preconceived notions that people will have about that, but that's just setting yourself up for trouble.
So one of the simplest steps to take is to make sure there's at least two signers signing every check that's drawn up to pay a bill.
Yes,
right.
And and just to give people, I mean, one of the things that we do to give an idea of some of the checks and balances, there is a person in our office who approves the bill, and that's all they do. They say, yes, this is a valid invoice, and that's something that's going back to someone on the sly.
Or that it wasn't, we weren't mischarged. The property was not mischarged.
And then it goes to someone else who actually creates the checks.
That's
that's all they do. And they have nothing to do with signing the checks.
Then it goes to our executives to sign.
Then it goes to someone where there's two signatures. And then the people that are receiving money, they do that, but they don't write checks. The people that write checks don't receive money. They don't deposit money.
Sure.
The more you separate things out, the more you end up having, and the more people you have involved, the less likely you are of being robbed.
Yeah.
Think of they talk about the story of just people who commit bank robberies.
Yeah.
And how one of the reasons why most people eventually get caught is that nobody can keep their mouth shut.
No one can keep a secret like that.
No one can keep a secret.
Sure.
You remember there was the Great Brinks robbery back in the late 50s, and it was like $10 million that was stolen.
Yeah.
These people were alive. There was 10 or 12 people that were involved in it. And they were almost... And I think they'd gotten to 15, 16 years later down the road. But finally someone...
had to tell the story.
Someone had to tell the story. Nobody could keep quiet. And so the idea that people, in that case, here you had a group of people who all had a reason to want to keep something silent.
Yeah, good reason.
And then they couldn't do it. But now you can see why, if you have the proper checks and balances in place, and you have different people who have different portions, different understandings, things are going to be okay financially.
Yeah. Other things that Mr. Parker suggests is make sure the bank account is reconciled every single month, and make sure the person producing the financial report to the board is not the same person that signs the checks.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you say. The more people you have involved, the less likely any bad secrets will be kept.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a break, but when we come back, Tony, let's talk about the other area here, and that is, how does a board work to making a decision collectively, and then more importantly, be able to still get along with one another? We'll cover that after these messages.